Dear sons and daughters, I want to bless you with this powerful and important message. So give me at least 1 minute of your time so I can bless you. If you are doing something right now, giving me at least 1 minute of your time is not too much, considering what I went through because of you. You can also listen to these words of blessings and encouragement in the background. My child, life's journey can bring you face to face with challenges that test your strength and resilience. If you're feeling weighed down by emotional struggles and burdens, know that you're not alone. I, for example, have once experienced this myself. Do you still remember my deep emotional pain in the Garden of Gethsemane? I felt overwhelming sorrow and emotional burden as I prepared for my crucifixion. This was recorded in Matthew 26:37-38. It is written, "He took Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee along with him, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, 'My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me.' In this moment, I faced the emotional weight of the sin of the world and the suffering that I was about to endure. This shows that even I experienced the crushing burden of sorrow. There are many more examples of my moments of challenges, which I will tell you in future episodes. What is important right now, my dear son and daughter, is to know that everyone has moments of hardship, but these moments do not define who you are. They are stepping stones that, when faced with courage and determination, can lead to growth and transformation. To help you understand what I just said, picture this illustration. Imagine you're learning to ride a bike. At first, it's really hard. You might fall, scrape your knee, and feel like giving up. It's scary, and you might think, why do I have to do this? But every time you try again, you get a little better. Maybe you figure out how to balance for a few seconds, then a little longer, and then suddenly, you're riding all by yourself. Those falls and scrapes might hurt at the time, but they help you learn what to do differently. Without them, you wouldn't know how to keep your balance. By not giving up and trying again, you get stronger and more confident. Soon, riding a bike becomes easy, and you're zooming around, feeling free and happy. Hard times in life are just like learning to ride a bike. They might feel tough at first, but every time you keep going, you're getting stronger and closer to doing something amazing. With that illustration in mind, I, Jesus, can teach you how to handle moments of hardship. But before I continue, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who might need this, and subscribe to this community if you want to receive more of me. The first thing during times of struggle is to acknowledge your feelings. It's okay to feel sad, angry, overwhelmed, or even lost. Many times in Bible accounts, I hope you still remember that I openly acknowledge and express my feelings. I'm going to give you 2 examples. The first instance was when I wept at Lazarus's tomb. John 11:35. I showed deep sorrow over the death of my friend Lazarus. My weeping demonstrates my ability to feel and express sadness. Even though I knew I was about to raise Lazarus from the dead, I still allowed myself to feel grief, acknowledging the pain of loss. This shows that feeling sadness is natural and doesn't make one any less strong or faithful. The other occurrence I want to remind you of, to let you know it's okay to be expressive of your emotions, is when I was on the cross. Matthew 27:46. My tears reveal a sense of abandonment and deep anguish as I bear the weight of the world's sins. My cry illustrates that even in the midst of intense suffering, it is okay to express and acknowledge feelings of desolation and despair. Just so you know, I know deeply that my Father in heaven at the time didn't forsake me. but I was just overloaded with so much pain and stress. So what's the point I want you to take away? Emotions are a natural response to life's complexities, and they serve as signals that something needs attention. Suppressing or denying your emotions may seem like an easy way out, but it often creates deeper pain over time. Instead, give yourself permission to feel. Sit with your emotions and let them flow through you. By doing this, you're allowing yourself the grace to process and heal. To make you understand this better, think for instance about this possible occurrence. Imagine you've had a long, stressful day at work. Your boss criticized your project in a meeting, and a colleague made an offhand comment that felt dismissive. Instead of addressing how you feel, you brush it off, telling yourself, "I'm fine. It's not a big deal." Later that evening, a small thing, like your partner forgetting to pick up milk, triggers an outburst of anger or frustration that feels disproportionate. You find yourself snapping at your spouse or withdrawing completely. This is because the emotions you suppressed earlier in the day, hurt, embarrassment, and frustration, have built up, and now they're spilling out in an unhelpful way. If, instead, you'd allowed yourself to process those feelings earlier by acknowledging, "I feel criticized and undervalued, and that's hard for me," you might have been able to work through them in a healthier way. Sitting with your emotions, writing them down, or even talking to someone you trust can help you release them without letting them fester or explode later. This process creates space for healing and growth rather than deepening the pain. So my sons and daughters, just like myself, it's okay to express how you feel. Don't suppress them. And I, Jesus, will ensure to give you the needed strength to overcome whatever it is that is stressing you. The number 2 powerful way you can handle moments of hardships is to remember that you are stronger than you think. Emotional pain can cloud your perception of yourself, making you feel weak or incapable. But within you lies a reservoir of resilience that you may not even realize. What I've done for you since the time you came to me is to give you the power beyond imagining. In your own case, my child, this power and strength might still be latent, waiting for this moment to come out. So I declare upon your life right now that the power to see and rise beyond your struggles shall manifest right now. Claim it by saying, "Thank you, Jesus." To even help you see that you're stronger than you think, I want you to think back to times when you faced difficulties in the past. You survived those moments, and you grew from them. Let that be a reminder of your inner strength and the infinite capacity you have to overcome adversity. I know it can be difficult to reflect upon the past. When you're going through something hard, it's easy to doubt yourself. I know because I've felt it too. You think back to other tough times, but instead of remembering how strong you were, you just remember how hard it was. It makes you wonder, can I handle this? Here's what happens. When you faced struggles in the past, you felt scared, stressed, or overwhelmed. But once you got through it, those feelings faded. You moved on, and now it's hard to remember how you pushed through. But when you're in a new struggle, the emotions feel fresh and heavy, and you forget that you've already proven you're strong before. Think about it like this. Imagine you climbed a really steep hill. While you were climbing, your legs burned and you wanted to quit, but you kept going and made it to the top. After a while, you forget how hard it was, and when you see another hill, you think, I can't do this. But I know you can, because you've done it before. You've already faced challenges, and you've come out the other side. You don't need to doubt yourself. You've got what it takes. I just want you to remember that. The number 3 powerful way you can handle moments of hardships is to focus on the present moment. What I've noticed is that when most of my children are burdened by pain, their minds often replay past regrets or worry about an uncertain future. This mental cycle makes the burden feel heavier. I don't want you to go through that. I see how you hold on to your past, replaying regrets and feeling weighed down by them. But I want you to let them go. I didn't come to condemn you. I came to set you free. Do you remember the woman caught in adultery? They wanted to stone her, but I told them, "Let the one without sin throw the first stone." When they all walked away, I looked at her and said, "I don't condemn you. Go and leave your life of sin." I said that because I didn't want her to live in shame, and I don't want you to either. Think about Peter. He denied me 3 times, and it broke him. But after I rose, I asked him, "Do you love me?" I asked him 3 times because I wanted him to know his failure didn't define him. I didn't see his regret. I saw his love for me, and I gave him a new purpose. I do the same for you. And the prodigal son, do you remember how his father ran to him? That's how I see you. When you turn to me, I don't look at what you've done. I see that you're home, and I celebrate you. Even as I hung on the cross, I prayed, "Father, forgive them." I didn't hold on to the pain of what they did to me, and I don't want you to hold on to your regrets either. I want you to look ahead, not back. Trust me. I am with you, and I'll help you move forward. My dear child, if you're still listening to me, make sure to subscribe to this channel, like the video, and share the message to someone who will be blessed too. The number 4 powerful way you can handle moments of hardship is to reach out for support. Sharing your feelings with someone you trust can be incredibly liberating. Whether it's a friend, family member, support group, or body of Christ. When you connect with others, it reminds you that you're not alone. I want you to remember that. I've faced my share of hardships, and in those moments, I reached out for support. You might think that because I'm Jesus, I handled everything on my own, but I want to share with you how I didn't. I needed others, and it's okay for you to need others too. When I was in the Garden of Gethsemane, facing the weight of what was about to happen, my betrayal, my suffering, my death, I felt deeply troubled. I asked Peter, James, and John to stay with me and pray. I didn't want to face it alone. I went off to pray by myself, but I came back to find them asleep. Still, I asked again, "Couldn't you stay awake with me?" In my darkest hour, I sought support, and I encourage you to do the same when you face your own struggles. On the cross, as I felt the weight of the world's sins and the agony of separation from the Father, I cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Even in that moment of deep sorrow, I reached out to my Father, expressing my pain. I didn't hide it, and I don't want you to hide yours either. If you're hurting, speak to me. Talk to the Father. Don't keep it in. Remember when I told my disciples, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Matthew 11:28. I wasn't just speaking to them. I was speaking to you too. When you're tired, when your heart is heavy, you can come to me. I'll help you carry that load. And don't ever forget about how I reached out to the Father, time and time again. I withdrew to quiet places to pray, to connect with Him, to recharge. In Luke 5:16 it says, "But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed." I knew the importance of finding support in my Father, and I want you to do the same. When the world feels heavy, don't shy away from seeking that time to connect with God. You don't have to face your struggles alone. I didn't, and I'm here for you. When you feel like you can't go on, remember that you can reach out to me, to the Father, and to those around you who care. It's okay to ask for help. Even in my most difficult moments, I did. If you're hesitant to open up to me in prayer, start small. Write down your thoughts in a journal and practice how to tell them to me. I'll be right there to support you and help you. My dear child, let me teach you about how some individuals in the Bible were hesitant to open up to me in prayer, but over time became more open and expressive in their communication with me. Each of these people shows you that even if you start out unsure or reserved, I am patient, and I will guide you to a deeper, more trusting relationship with me. 1. Moses was hesitant at first when I called him to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. He was unsure of himself and afraid to speak, but I didn't give up on him. At the burning bush, Moses asked, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" You see, Moses didn't feel qualified, and he questioned whether I could really use him. But over time, I helped Moses grow in confidence, teaching him to trust me. In the end, Moses became one of the most faithful leaders, interceding for Israel with bold prayers. Just like Moses, you might hesitate at first, but remember, I am with you, and I will give you the strength to speak and pray boldly. 2. Gideon too struggled with doubt. When I called him to deliver Israel from the Midianites, he asked, "How can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest, and I am the least in my family." He needed reassurance and asked for signs, showing his hesitation to trust me completely. But as he saw my faithfulness in his life, his prayers became more confident. Just like Gideon, you might question my plans for you, but as you step out in faith, you'll learn to trust me more fully, and your prayers will grow deeper. 3. Jonah, when I called him to go to Nineveh, ran away because he was afraid and angry. He didn't want to pray for the people he thought didn't deserve my mercy. He initially shut his heart off from me, but I showed him that my compassion extends even to those we least expect. When Jonah was in the belly of the great fish, he prayed with humility and cried out to me, and I answered him. Even when you're hesitant to pray, remember that I listen. You may not always know how to pray at first, but if you come to me, I will teach you how to open your heart. 4. David. As a young shepherd, David was often unsure and afraid, but he learned to pour his heart out in prayer to me. At times, David was hesitant and expressed his doubts and fears in the Psalms, asking why things were happening as they were. But as he grew in his relationship with me, David became more open and expressive in his worship and prayer. He said, "One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life." David's prayers transformed as he grew in his trust and intimacy with me. You may begin with simple prayers or doubts, but as you draw near to me, your words and your heart will grow deeper. 5. Thomas. Finally, consider Thomas, one of my disciples. When he heard the other disciples say I had risen, he was skeptical and hesitated to believe. He said, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands, and put my finger where the nails were, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe." Thomas doubted and hesitated to pray with trust. But when I appeared to him and invited him to touch my wounds, Thomas's faith grew. His initial hesitance turned into an open, expressive declaration, "My Lord and my God." Sometimes you may doubt or feel uncertain, but I will meet you in your struggles, and your trust in me will grow as you encounter my love. In each of these examples, I want you to understand that prayer is a journey. It begins with hesitation, with doubts, with uncertainty. But as you grow closer to me, as you experience my faithfulness, your prayer life will evolve. You'll move from hesitance to boldness, from silence to expression, and from doubt to trust. So come to me, however you are, and I will help you open up and grow in your relationship with me. The number 5 powerful way you can handle moments of hardship is to treat yourself with self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend going through a tough time. Speak to yourself with words of encouragement, not criticism. Celebrate the small victories that I give you on a daily basis, no matter how insignificant they may seem. Just the fact that you get out of bed today, despite feeling weighed down, is a sign that my powerful hands are on you. Recognize these moments and honor them as steps forward. Let me give you a simple illustration to help you understand how to handle hardships with self-compassion. Imagine you're a traveler on a long journey. The path is rocky, and your backpack is heavy with burdens. It's easy to feel overwhelmed and discouraged, especially when the road seems never-ending. But I want you to picture yourself as your own travel companion, someone who's been with you every step of the way. When you stumble or feel exhausted, you wouldn't yell at yourself or criticize yourself for not moving faster, right? Instead, you'd offer words of encouragement. You've come this far. Keep going. Just a little bit more. You're doing great. You'd remind yourself to take one step at a time, celebrating each small victory, like reaching the next milestone, even if it seems small. Now, when you wake up and feel weighed down, just getting out of bed is a victory in itself. That's a step forward. It might not feel like much, but it's a sign that I am with you, strengthening you, carrying you. Every small victory, like moving a little further down the road, is worth celebrating. So, when you face hardships, treat yourself with the same kindness you would show a dear friend on that same journey. Speak to yourself with words of encouragement and recognize every step, no matter how small, as progress. I'm walking with you, and together, we'll keep moving forward. Let me share 2 examples of people from the Bible who practiced self-compassion, just like I want you to. Number 1, Elijah, a prophet. And one time, Elijah was feeling very sad and tired. He had been doing hard work for me, but after a big challenge, he felt like giving up. He even said, "I've had enough, Lord. Take my life." 1 Kings 19:4. Elijah felt like he couldn't go on, and that's okay. Sometimes you feel sad and tired too, but I didn't let Elijah stay in that place. Instead, I gave him rest. I sent an angel to bring him food and water. I told him to eat, sleep, and take care of himself. I didn't criticize him for feeling down. I showed him kindness. I wanted him to be kind to himself, just like I want you to do when you feel overwhelmed. After resting, Elijah was able to hear my voice and get back up to keep going. 2, David. As a king, David had many hard moments too. He was often running away from enemies who wanted to hurt him. Sometimes he felt scared and alone. In one of his hardest times, David said, "Why are you downcast, O my soul? Why so disturbed within me?" Psalm 42, verse 5. David was talking to himself, asking why he felt so sad. But instead of staying upset, he gave himself a bit of kindness. He told himself, "Put your hope in God, for I will yet praise him." Psalm 42:11. David was reminding himself that even though things were hard, he could still hope in me and praise me. He wasn't mean to himself, and that helped him feel better. Both Elijah and David took care of themselves in tough times. I want you to remember this. When you're feeling sad or tired, Be kind to yourself. Take time to rest, talk to me, and give yourself the grace to keep going. I am always here for you, just like I was for Elijah and David. Let me tell you how Elijah and David found purpose in their pain and overcame their struggles. Even though Elijah felt so sad and wanted to give up, I didn't leave him there. After he rested and ate, I spoke to him gently, not in a loud storm or earthquake, but in a soft whisper. 1 Kings 19:11-12. I reminded Elijah that he still had important work to do. I told him to go and anoint new kings and choose someone to be his helper, Elisha. Elijah's pain wasn't for nothing. Through his struggle, he found a new purpose. He was able to pass on his work to Elisha and keep helping my people. Elijah learned that even in the hardest times, I had a plan for him, and he still had a role to play. When you feel down or stuck, remember that even in your pain, I can use you for something good. Just like Elijah, you can find purpose in your struggles and use what you've learned to help others. With regards to David, too, he had many hard times. He was often running away from people who wanted to hurt him. But David found that his pain made him stronger and more trusting in me. When he was in danger or alone, he didn't give up. He wrote songs and prayers, calling out to me and reminding himself of my love and faithfulness. He wrote many psalms, like Psalm 23, where he said, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing." Psalm 23:1. Even in pain, David found peace because he trusted me with his struggles. David's pain led him to depend on me more deeply, and he learned how to help others by sharing his songs of faith. He became a king, leading Israel, and through his struggles, he became stronger. He didn't let his pain define him. He found purpose in it by trusting me and helping others with his story. So, just like Elijah and David, you can find purpose in your pain too. When life is hard, remember that I am with you. Your struggles don't have to be pointless. I can use them to teach you, grow you, and help others. Keep going and trust that I'll turn your pain into something beautiful. I also must remind you that your progress when it comes to overcoming struggles is not linear. There will be good days and bad days, moments of progress, and moments where you feel like you're back at square one. This is normal. Be patient with yourself and your journey. Healing takes time, and that's okay. Let me help you understand this lesson further. Your journey of overcoming struggles and finding healing is not always straight and easy. There will be days when you feel like you're making progress, and other days when it feels like you're back at the beginning. But that's okay, and it's normal. I want to remind you that the process of healing, growing, and learning takes time. Let's look at some examples of people in the Bible who went through this same kind of journey, where progress wasn't always linear. Number 1. Peter. Peter, one of my disciples, had many moments of progress and setbacks. He was passionate and always wanted to follow me closely. But there were times when he struggled. For example, when I told him that he would deny me 3 times before the rooster crowed, Peter didn't want to believe it. He said, "Even if all fall away on account of you, I never will." Matthew 26:33. But just as I said, Peter denied me 3 times, and afterward, he felt broken and ashamed. It seemed like he was back at square one, like everything he had worked for had been undone. But I didn't leave him there. After my resurrection, I forgave him and restored him, asking, "Do you love me?" 3 times. John 21:15-17. Peter's journey wasn't perfect, but over time, he became a strong leader in the early church. He learned that even in moments of failure, there's always room for healing and growth. Peter's story shows you that healing and progress aren't always straight lines. Sometimes there are setbacks, but that doesn't mean you're not moving forward. 2. Joseph. Joseph's life was full of ups and downs too. He started with a dream of greatness, but his brothers betrayed him, sold him into slavery, and he spent years in difficult circumstances. Genesis 37-39. At one point, he was wrongfully accused and thrown into prison, and it seemed like he was back at square one again. But even in those dark times, I was with Joseph, and he grew in character. Joseph went from a prisoner to the second in command in Egypt. When he finally reunited with his brothers, he said to them, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Genesis 50:20. Joseph's journey wasn't quick or easy. It had many ups and downs, but each part of his story led him to a place of understanding and strength. Like Joseph, you may face moments when you feel like you've taken 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. But just know that each step, even the difficult ones, is part of the process of growth. 3. Paul, who wrote much of the New Testament, had his own struggles with progress. He went through many hardships, including being beaten, imprisoned, and shipwrecked. 2 Corinthians 11:23-27. Even though he had such strong faith, there were times when he faced doubts and difficulties. He even admitted, "I do not understand what I do. For what I want to do, I do not do. But what I hate, I do." Romans 7:15. Paul, like you, had moments of struggle where it seemed like he was back at square one. But even with those struggles, he kept going, trusting that healing, strength, and growth would come in time. Paul was patient with himself and kept relying on my grace to help him keep moving forward. Through his journey, he found the truth that healing and overcoming struggles take time, but it is worth it. 4. Job. Job's story is another example of someone who faced immense pain and hardship. He lost everything: his wealth, his health, and even his family. At one point, Job's pain made him question everything, even why he was born. He felt like he was back at square one, with nothing left. But in the end, Job learned that his pain and struggles didn't mean he had failed, or that I had abandoned him. I restored him, and his blessings were even greater than before. Job 42:10-17. Job's progress wasn't linear. He had moments where he doubted and even cursed the day of his birth. But through those moments, he grew in wisdom and understanding, learning to trust in my plan for him, even in the midst of suffering. These stories show you that your journey of healing, overcoming struggles, and growing in faith is not always a straight path. There will be moments when you feel like you're making progress, and there will be other times when you feel like you've taken steps backward. But through it all, I am with you. I am patient, and I will guide you. Be kind to yourself, just as I am kind to you. Healing and growth take time, but each day you move forward, no matter how small it may seem, is a step toward the victory I have for you. So, take your time and trust that I am working in you, even in the difficult moments. My beloved, I know that life's journey can sometimes bring you face to face with challenges that seem too big, too overwhelming, and too hard to bear. There are times when your strength and resilience are tested in ways you never imagined. But I want you to hear this today. I am with you every step of the way. These challenges, though difficult, are never without purpose. They are opportunities for growth, for learning, and for deepening your trust in me. I see your struggles, your weariness, and the weight you carry. But I also see your heart, your courage to keep going, even when it feels like you're at the end of your rope. Know this: I have never left you. I am right here, walking beside you, holding you in my arms. When you feel weak, I will give you strength. When you feel lost, I will guide you. When you feel discouraged, I will lift you up. I bless you today with peace, the kind of peace that only comes from knowing you are never alone. I bless you with resilience, the kind that rises after every fall, that keeps moving forward, no matter how many times you've stumbled. I bless you with hope, a hope that does not disappoint, because I am the one who holds your future in my hands. I bless you with patience for yourself, knowing that your progress is not measured by how fast you go, but by your willingness to keep going with me by your side. Remember, my dear one, that you are not defined by your struggles, but by how you rise with my strength and grace. Your journey is not in vain, for I will use every step you take, every moment of hardship, to bring about good. So be patient with yourself. You are doing better than you realize. Keep trusting me. Keep moving forward. I will carry you. You are blessed, and I am with you always. Make sure to subscribe to this community, like the video, and share this video with someone who will benefit from it.